Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Broadcast Studio. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our weekly motivational broadcasts.
That's right. Your support means the world to us. Every like, every subscription, and every comment encourages us to bring you more inspiring conversations. And today, David, today's topic is powerful.
Absolutely, Emma. We're going to dive into something that almost every person on this planet has experienced, loss. But more importantly, we'll explore why losing doesn't mean it's over.
Because life is not a single event. It's a long journey. A loss today doesn't mean tomorrow is gone. Losing a job doesn't mean your career is finished. Losing in sports doesn't mean you're not an athlete. Even losing in love doesn't mean you'll never find happiness again.
Exactly. Think of failure as a stepping stone, not a dead end. And that's what we'll explore today, through stories, analogies, and real-life examples.
So sit back, grab your headphones, and let's get into this journey together.
Emma, let me ask you, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word losing?
Honestly, I think of disappointment. That heavy feeling in your chest when something you hoped for slips away. But at the same time, I also think of learning.
Interesting. So you're saying losing and learning are connected?
Oh, completely. Look, when we lose, our brain and heart are forced to pay attention. We stop taking things for granted. We ask ourselves, what went wrong? What could I have done better? That process, that reflection, is where growth begins.
I love that. And you know, there's a quote I always keep in mind. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. That was Henry Ford. He failed multiple times before creating Ford Motors, which became one of the biggest automobile companies in the world.
Exactly. Imagine if Ford had given up after his first business collapse. The cars we drive today might look completely different.
And it's not just in business. Think about athletes. Michael Jordan, the basketball legend, he once said, "I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. I have failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed."
Yes, people see the victories, the trophies, the fame, but behind that there are countless losses. Each loss taught him something that pushed him to greatness.
So when we say losing doesn't mean it's over, we're actually reminding people that losing is part of the process. It's not the end of the road, it's just a turn, maybe even a detour, but not the final destination.
Absolutely. Let me share something personal here. Back in college, I auditioned for the debate team. I thought I did so well, but when the results came out, guess what? My name wasn't on the list. I felt crushed, like maybe debating wasn't for me.
Ouch, that must have been tough.
It was. But you know what happened next year? I tried again. This time, I prepared better, learned from my mistakes, and not only did I make it, I became the captain 2 years later.
Wow, that's such a perfect example. Your first loss wasn't the end. It was a stepping stone.
Exactly. Losing redirected me. It made me sharper, more determined, and more grateful when I finally succeeded.
So Emma, in part one, we talked about how losing can actually become a stepping stone. But let's be honest, losing hurts. Sometimes it hurts so badly that people feel like giving up.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the part many motivational talks skip. People tell you, stay strong, don't cry, move on. But the truth is, when you lose something, whether it's a competition, an opportunity, or even a relationship, the pain is real. You can't just switch it off.
Exactly. Pretending it doesn't hurt doesn't make you stronger. Acknowledging the pain does. Because if you don't allow yourself to feel it, you can't truly heal from it.
You know, this reminds me of something. When I was younger, I entered an art competition. I worked day and night, pouring my soul into my painting. I really believed I had a chance. But when the results were announced, I didn't even make it to the top 5. I cried for hours. It felt like I wasn't good enough.
I can imagine how heartbreaking that must have been. Did that experience discourage you from painting?
For a while, yes. I pushed my brushes away, telling myself maybe art wasn't my path. but a teacher saw my sadness and said something I'll never forget. Emma, the judge's decision doesn't define your talent. Losing a competition doesn't mean losing your gift. Those words stayed with me.
Wow, that's powerful. And that's the thing. We often confuse losing in one event with losing completely, but they're not the same.
Exactly. Losing is temporary. It's an event, not your identity. But when emotions take over, it feels permanent.
Yes, and that's why I think one of the most important skills in life is emotional resilience. The ability to feel the pain, process it, and then rise again.
You're so right. Emotional resilience doesn't mean you never feel sad. It means you don't let sadness control the rest of your life.
Here's a thought. When Thomas Edison was inventing the light bulb, he failed thousands of times. People mocked him, called him a failure. But Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work."
And now, every time we flip a light switch, we're literally living in the results of his resilience.
Exactly. If Edison had taken those failures emotionally as the end, we might still be living in darkness.
Let's also talk about relationships for a moment, because losing in love or losing a friendship can feel even more painful than losing a competition.
Oh, absolutely. People often say heartbreak feels like the world has ended, and in that moment, it truly does feel that way.
Yes, and I had a close friend who went through a breakup. She told me she felt like her life was meaningless, that she had lost everything. But a year later, she discovered new hobbies, met new people, and eventually realized that her breakup was not the end. It was a redirection.
That's the word, redirection. Losing doesn't always mean the door is shut forever. Sometimes it means you're being redirected to a different path that's better for you.
Exactly. And that's why when we say losing doesn't mean it's over, we're really talking about perspective. Because pain is temporary, but the lessons you learn from it last forever.
So true. And if we think about it, every great success story we admire has chapters of loss. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, none of them had a smooth, perfect journey.
That's right. And that's why I think we need to normalize talking about losing. We shouldn't treat it like shame. We should treat it like training.
Beautifully said. Losing isn't the end. It's training for your next win.
And to everyone listening right now, if you've lost something recently, whether it's big or small, please know you're not alone. Losing is part of being human. And no matter how heavy it feels right now, it's not the end of your story.
Yes, remember, every ending is also a beginning. You may not see the new beginning yet, but it's there, waiting for you.
So take a deep breath, feel the pain, then rise. Because losing doesn't mean it's over.
Emma, in our last part, we touched on the emotional side of losing. But sometimes the best way to see that losing doesn't mean it's over is to look at real people who faced huge losses but still came back stronger.
Yes, stories always make the message come alive. And there are so many incredible ones. Let's start with one of my favorites, J.K. Rowling.
Oh yes, the creator of Harry Potter.
Exactly. Before she became the famous author we know today, Rowling was a single mother living in poverty. She faced rejection after rejection from publishers. In fact, her manuscript for Harry Potter was rejected 12 times. Can you imagine that?
12 times. Most people would have given up after 2 or 3 rejections.
Right. But she didn't. She believed in her story, and eventually one small publishing house gave her a chance. And today, Harry Potter is one of the most successful book series of all time. If she had accepted those early rejections as the end, the world would have missed out on a magical story.
That's such a powerful example. Losing doesn't mean it's over. It means the story isn't finished yet.
Exactly. And speaking of not giving up, another inspiring story is Steve Jobs.
Yes, the co-founder of Apple. People forget that he was actually fired from Apple, the very company he started.
Can you imagine to be removed from your own creation? It must have felt like the ultimate loss.
Oh, absolutely. But instead of letting that destroy him, Jobs founded another company called Next and also bought a little animation studio that later became Pixar. Pixar went on to create some of the most beloved animated films in history, like Toy Story. And eventually, Apple invited Jobs back. And under his leadership, Apple created the iPod, iPhone, and iPad.
So losing his job didn't mean his career was over. It was just a redirection that made him even stronger.
Exactly. And that's why I say sometimes what feels like the end is just the middle of the story.
I love that. Let's share a sports example too, because athletes often show us the purest form of resilience.
Yes. How about Serena Williams?
Oh, perfect. Serena is one of the greatest tennis players of all time, but her journey wasn't without setbacks. She lost matches, battled injuries, and even had to take time off for health and personal reasons. There were moments when critics said her time is over, but she kept coming back again and again, proving that a single loss doesn't define greatness.
Exactly. Champions aren't made from never losing. They're made from refusing to quit after they lose.
That reminds me of another name, Walt Disney.
Oh, yes. People see Disneyland, Disney movies, and think it was always a fairy tale. But the reality? Disney faced bankruptcy. His early studio went under. He was even told he lacked creativity. Can you imagine telling Walt Disney he wasn't creative?
It sounds absurd now, but back then, those words could have broken him. Instead, he pushed forward. Today, Disney is a global empire of creativity, joy, and storytelling.
Exactly. Every child who smiles at a Disney movie is proof that losing didn't stop him. It fueled him.
And you know, David, even in history, leaders faced loss. Think about Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, Lincoln lost multiple elections before becoming the President of the United States. He faced business failures, personal tragedies, and political defeats. But he didn't stop, and eventually, he led the country through one of its toughest times.
Imagine if Lincoln had given up after his early political losses. The course of history itself might have been different.
Exactly, which shows us losing is not the end. Sometimes it's preparation for something bigger than ourselves.
And I think that's the common thread in all these stories. Rowling, Jobs, Serena, Disney, Lincoln, they all remind us that losing is part of the journey. What matters is what you do next.
Yes, losing says, this door is closed. But resilience asks, what other door can I open?
Beautifully said. And maybe for our listeners, the takeaway is this. Whenever you face a loss, remember, there are people who faced worse, but because they didn't stop, they created greatness.
And if they can rise, so can you.
Yes, because losing doesn't mean it's over. It just means your story isn't done yet. Oh, perfect. Serena is one of the greatest tennis players of all time, but her journey wasn't without setbacks. She lost matches, battled injuries, and even had to take time off for health and personal reasons. There were moments when critics said her time is over, but she kept coming back again and again, proving that a single loss doesn't define greatness.
Exactly. Champions aren't made from never losing. They're made from refusing to quit after they lose.
That reminds me of another name, Walt Disney.
Oh, yes. People see Disneyland, Disney movies, and think it was always a fairy tale. But the reality? Disney faced bankruptcy. His early studio went under. He was even told he lacked creativity. Can you imagine telling Walt Disney he wasn't creative?
It sounds absurd now, but back then, those words could have broken him. Instead, he pushed forward. Today, Disney is a global empire of creativity, joy, and storytelling.
Exactly. Every child who smiles at a Disney movie is proof that losing didn't stop him. It fueled him.
And you know, David, even in history, leaders faced loss. Think about Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, Lincoln lost multiple elections before becoming the President of the United States. He faced business failures, personal tragedies, and political defeats, but he didn't stop. And eventually, he led the country through one of its toughest times.
Imagine if Lincoln had given up after his early political losses. The course of history itself might have been different.
Exactly, which shows us losing is not the end. Sometimes it's preparation for something bigger than ourselves.
And I think that's the common thread in all of these stories. Rowling, Jobs, Serena, Disney, Lincoln. They all remind us that losing is part of the journey. What matters is what you do next.
Yes, losing says this door is closed, but resilience asks, what other door can I open?
Beautifully said. And maybe for our listeners, the takeaway is this. Whenever you face a loss, remember, there are people who faced worse, but because they didn't stop, they created greatness.
And if they can rise, so can you.
Yes, because losing doesn't mean it's over. It just means your story isn't done yet.
So far, Emma, we've looked at the meaning of losing, the emotional impact, and inspiring comeback stories. But let's be practical for a moment. People listening right now might be asking, okay, I've lost something. What do I actually do next?
Yes, that's such an important question because motivation is great, but without action, it fades. So let's break it down into real steps people can take when they experience loss.
Perfect. Step one, in my opinion, is acceptance.
Yes, acceptance is so powerful. Many people stay stuck in denial, like, this shouldn't have happened to me, or it's not fair. And while those feelings are valid, holding on to them forever keeps you frozen.
Right. Acceptance doesn't mean you're happy about losing. It means you acknowledge it happened, and you give yourself permission to move forward.
Exactly. Like when you lose a game, if you spend weeks saying the referee was unfair, you lose the opportunity to actually improve your game.
That's a perfect example, which brings us to step 2, reflection. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this loss? What worked and what didn't?
Yes, reflection transforms loss into wisdom. Without reflection, losing is just pain. With reflection, losing becomes progress.
I remember reading about Japanese culture and how they practice something called kaizen, continuous improvement. After every small failure, they reflect, make adjustments, and get better.
That's brilliant. And step 3 is something people often overlook, self-compassion.
Ugh, absolutely. People can be so harsh on themselves after losing. I'm stupid. I'm worthless. I'll never succeed. But that negative self-talk only deepens the wound.
Yes, imagine talking to a friend who lost something. Would you call them stupid? Of course not. You'd encourage them. So why not treat yourself with the same kindness?
Exactly. Replace self-criticism with self-encouragement. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, say, I failed this time, but I'm learning.
Beautiful. And here's step 4, action planning. After reflection and compassion, it's time to plan the comeback. Ask, what's my next step? What can I do differently?
Yes, write it down. Make a roadmap. For example, if you lost a job, your plan could include updating your resume, learning new skills, networking, or even starting a side project.
Exactly. Planning transforms uncertainty into direction. And when you have direction, you start to rebuild confidence.
Step 5 is resilience building. Train yourself to bounce back faster.
Yes, and resilience can be trained like a muscle. Start small, face little challenges, embrace discomfort, and remind yourself you can handle setbacks. Over time, your resilience grows stronger.
That's so true. And part of resilience is also building a support system. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not drag you down.
Exactly. Isolation after losing can make the pain heavier. But when you share your journey with others, family, friends, mentors, you realize you're not alone.
And you know what else helps? Gratitude.
Yes, gratitude is like a light in the darkness. Even after losing, if you pause and say, I'm grateful for what I still have, it changes your perspective.
Exactly. Gratitude doesn't erase the loss, but it reminds you life is bigger than that one moment.
Let's put these steps into a simple formula for our listeners. Acceptance, admit what happened. Reflection, ask what you can learn. Self-compassion, be kind to yourself. Action planning, decide your next steps. Resilience, build your bounce-back strength. Support system, lean on others. Gratitude, focus on what remains.
That's perfect, Emma. 7 steps to transform losing into growth.
And you know what's exciting? If you practice these steps consistently, losing doesn't just stop being painful. It actually becomes a source of energy.
Yes, it becomes fuel. Every loss you process this way makes you stronger for the next challenge.
It's like turning setbacks into stepping stones.
Exactly. And maybe this is the secret of all successful people. They don't avoid losing. They master the art of learning from it.
That's right, which means anyone listening today can do the same.
Yes, because losing doesn't mean it's over. It means it's training time.
I love that. Training time for your next victory.
Emma, we've covered so much today. What losing really means, how it feels, stories of resilience, and the steps to grow stronger. But before we close, let's leave our audience with a message they can carry with them every single day.
Yes, David, because at the end of the day, all of this is not just theory. It's about real lives. Our listeners may be facing losses right now. Some may have failed an exam. Some may have lost a business deal. Others may be healing from heartbreak. And in those moments, it feels like the world is ending.
Absolutely. But here's the truth we've been repeating throughout this broadcast. Losing doesn't mean it's over. Losing means you're still in the game. It means you have more chapters to write.
Exactly. Every great story has plot twists, unexpected turns, and even dark moments. But that's what makes the ending so beautiful. Without the struggle, there is no triumph. Without loss, there is no meaning in victory.
You're right. Think of your life as a book. Right now, you may be on a tough chapter, but would you ever close a book after one sad chapter? No. You'd keep reading because you know the story isn't finished yet.
That's such a powerful image, David. And maybe that's what our audience needs to hear. Your story isn't finished yet.
Yes. So to everyone listening right now, no matter what loss you're carrying, take a deep breath and remind yourself this is not the end. This is preparation. This is training. This is a stepping stone.
And remember our 7 steps: acceptance, reflection, self-compassion, action planning, resilience, support system, and gratitude. If you apply these, you'll see that your losses don't break you, they shape you.
Exactly. And here's one more truth. Sometimes losing is the best thing that can happen to you because it pushes you to grow in ways you never imagined.
Yes, without losing, we never discover our hidden strengths. Without losing, we never learn the beauty of starting again.
So don't fear losing. Embrace it. Because it doesn't mean it's over. It means something new is about to begin.
Beautifully said. And to our wonderful audience, if this conversation touched your heart, we invite you to join us on this journey every week.
Yes! Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our motivational broadcasts here at English Broadcast Studio.
And don't just keep this message to yourself. Share this video with a friend who might be struggling right now. Sometimes one sentence can give someone hope to keep going.
That's right. Because at English Broadcast Studio, we believe words have power, but power to change lives.
So keep believing, keep moving, and remember, no matter what you've lost, your journey isn't over.
Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep writing your story.
This is Emma
And David.
signing off from English Broadcast Studio.